Hello and welcome to the second week of our course. Each week I'm going to be presenting you with a different concept that's derived from the reading and also derived from the study of political economy. This week we're going to be talking about the very important concept of critical junctures. These are discussed in Why Nations Fail, and I just also wanted to supplement that discussion with some additional thoughts about what critical junctures are and why they're important. As a definition, we can point to the work of two historians, Giovanni Capoccia and Daniel Kellerman, who've done a great deal of work on the methodology of using critical junctures as a way to study history. And in their definition, a critical juncture is a point in time or a period when the structural, economic, cultural, ideological, or organizational influences on political action are significantly relaxed for a short period of time, and here's what happens. The range of choices on the part of political and other social actors expand tremendously, and the consequences of those actions are much more momentous. Now, I would like you to reflect on that definition, because I think it really captures the point. And also, if you want to read further on this, here's the reference to Capoccia and Kellerman's article. So, what happens in real time in history is that you have a long period of stability. Then you come to a point which we're going to call a critical juncture, and that often is precipitated by some external event that happens in the environment. And I'll give you an example of that in a moment. So a critical juncture, again, it means that there's a relaxation of influences on structure. It means that the normal day-to-day life of the country or the political system is no longer operates as usual, and there's an opening of choices. So several alternative paths open up, and the significance of these choices often result in dramatic and lasting change. But what happens is after a new choice is made, and a new path is established, then you have this, again, period of stability where things get back to, I wouldn't say they get back to normal, but they get back to a state of order until we get to the next critical juncture. And when you look at history, you'll see that critical junctures have occurred in every historical period, and every country has gone through them. One point to remember, though, is that one choice at the point for a point of critical junctures is that the status quo is maintained. In other words, that the choice to do nothing different is always a possibility, even in the midst of very dramatic change, the possibility of very dramatic changes. So, if we look at history, we see things that precipitate critical junctures. War is obviously one of them. World War I ended the imperial system in Europe. It also gave rise to communism and Nazism. The plague in Europe, as discussed in Why Nations Fail, upset the old feudal order, but it also caused the first sprouts of democracy to emerge. The death of a leader is often a critical juncture. In Russia, the death of Vladimir Lenin, one of the, certainly the preeminent founder of the Bolshevik state in Russia after the Russian Revolution. When he died, it gave rise to Stalinism, which resulted in the deaths of millions of Russians and the appearance of a really brutal and oppressive system. So you can see these critical junctures. The important thing to remember is that some external event is usually behind them. Now, if we look in our own time and try to see, what critical junctures might exist, we can ask, questions about things that, certainly in my lifetime, some of them in your lifetime, have happened, and we can really question whether these are in fact or were in fact critical junctures, we can continue this discussion on the discussion board in Blackboard, but I just offer you 9/11, which I believe was, a serious critical juncture for many reasons, and we'll talk about that in the discussion. But also things like the fall of the Berlin Wall, when President Nixon went to China and broke the diplomatic freeze between the United States and China and helped China open up to the rest of the world. But then we also have, the events in Ferguson, Missouri, the killing of Michael Brown. Question is, whether that is going to result in long-lasting positive change, or are things just going to revert to the status quo? So these significant events need to be looked at in greater detail. You can also look at in your own life. A critical juncture is not just about making a choice between 2 or 3 options. A critical juncture needs an external event that forces you to choose, because it opens up new opportunities, not always good ones, but certainly different ones. But a good way of looking at it is that life is not about knowing what choice to make, but rather to prepare yourself for the day when you have to make a choice. The more prepared you are for a range of options, the better you'll be able to take advantage of those opportunities, some of them which are unforeseen, which you may not be aware of. The fact is, though, it's the same for countries as it is for people, and we'll be looking at the reasons for that as we go forward. So, thanks for listening.